How's it going, YouTube? This is your boy Isma, and I'm coming back to you with another TryHackMe Challenge. Today, we'll be going over exploit vulnerabilities, and we'll be learning about some of the tools, techniques, and resources to exploit vulnerabilities. So, starting off with Task 1, Introduction. In this room, we're going to be going over some means of identifying vulnerabilities and coupling our research skills to learn how these can be abused. Additionally, we'll find some publicly available resources that are essential additions to your skill set and tools when performing vulnerabilities, research, and exploitation. You will then get to apply all of this into practice challenge at the end of the room. Answer the questions below. Let's proceed. There is no answer needed for this, actually. Moving on to Task 2, Automated versus Manual Vulnerability Research. There is a myriad of tools and services available in cybersecurity for vulnerability scanning, ranging from being commercial and footing a heavy bill to open source and free. Vulnerability scanners are convenient means of quickly canvassing an application for flaws. For example, the vulnerability scanner Nessus has both a free community edition and commercial. Commercial? The commercial version, costing thousands of pounds for a year's license, will likely be used in organizations providing penetration testing services or audits. If you'd like to know more about Nessus, check out the TryHackMe room dedicated to it. I have detailed some of the advantages and disadvantages of using vulnerability scanner in the table below. So I'm going to start off going on the advantages side. So automated scans are easy to repeat and the results can be shared with a team with ease. These scanners are quick and can test numerous applications efficiently. Open source solutions exist. Automated scanners cover a wide range of different vulnerabilities that may be hard to manually search for. Disadvantage: people can often become reliant on these tools. These are extremely loud and produce a lot of traffic and logging. This is not good if you are trying to bypass firewalls and the likes. Open source solutions are often basic and require expensive licenses to have useful features. They often do not find every vulnerability on an application. Frameworks such as Metasploit often have vulnerability scanners for some modules. This is something you will come on to learn about in a future module in this pathway. Manual scanning for vulnerabilities is often a weapon of choice by penetration testers when testing individual applications or programs. In fact, manual scanning will involve searching for the same vulnerabilities and uses similar techniques. Automated scanning. Ultimately, both techniques involve testing an application or program for vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities include, so I will start off reading this. Excuse me. Security misconfigurations. Security misconfigurations involve vulnerabilities that are due to developers' oversight. For example, exposing server information in messages between the applications and an attacker. Broken access control. This vulnerability occurs when an attacker is able to access parts of an application that they are not supposed to be able to otherwise. Insecure decentralization. This is the insecure processing of data that is sent across an application. An attacker may be able to pass malicious code to the application where it will then be executed. Injection. An injection vulnerability exists when an attacker is able to input malicious data into an application. This is due to the failure of not ensuring known as sanitizing input is not harmful. If you are keen to learn more about these vulnerabilities, the OWASP framework will be useful read to you. TryHackMe even has room showcasing the top 10 vulnerabilities outlined by OWASP. Answer the questions below. You are working close to a deadline for penetration tests and need to scan web applications quickly. Would you use automatic scanner? Yay or nay? That's yay. You are testing a web application and find that you are able to input and retrieve data in a database. What vulnerability is this? That's injection. You manage to impersonate another user. What vulnerability is this? And that's broken access control. Task 3. Finding manual exploits. Rapid 7. Much like other services such as exploitDB and MVD, Rapid 7 is a vulnerability research database. The only difference between that this database also acts as an exploit database. Using this service, you can filter by type of vulnerability, applications, and operations. Vulnerability exploits databases. Additionally, the database contains instructions for exploiting applications using the popular Metasploit tools. You will learn about this tool in depth later in learning path. For example, this entry of Rapid 7 is for WordPress plug-in, SP, project, and document, where we can see instructions on how to use an exploit module to abuse this vulnerability. GitHub. GitHub is a popular web service designed for software developers. The site is used to host and share the resources code of applications to allow a collaborative effort. However, security researchers have taken to this platform because of the aforementioned reasons as well. Security researchers store and share PC proof of concept on GitHub, turning it into an exploit database in this context. GitHub is extremely useful in finding rare or fresh exploits because anyone can create an account and upload. There is no formal verification process like there is with alternative exploit databases. With that said, there is also a downside in that POSC may not work where little to no support will be provided. GitHub uses a tagging and keyword system, meaning that we can search GitHub by keywords such as POC vulnerability and many more. At the time of writing, there are 9,682 repositories with the keyword CVE. We are also able to find the results by programming language. Going on to Searchpoint now. Searchpoint is a tool that is available on a popular pen testing distribution such as Kali Linux. It is also available on the TryHackMe attack box. This tool is an offline copy of exploitDB, containing copies of exploits on your system. You are able to search Searchpoint by application's name and or vulnerability type. For example, in the snippet below, we are searching Searchpoint for exploits relating to WordPress that we can use. No download necessary. Moving on to answer the questions below. What website would you use as a security research if you wanted to upload a proof of concept? And that's GitHub. You are performing a penetration test at a site with no internet connection. What tool could you use to find exploits to use? That's SearchFloyd. Moving on to task 4. We can use the information gathered from task 2 in this room to exploit the vulnerabilities service. Ultimately, one of the most effective vulnerabilities that we can exploit is the ability to execute commands on the target that is running the vulnerable application or service. For example, being able to execute commands on the target that is running the vulnerable application or service will allow us to read the files or execute commands that we previously wouldn't be able to perform using the application or service alone. Additionally, we can abuse this to gain what is known as a foothold to the machine. A foothold is an access to the vulnerable machine console, where we can then begin to exploit other applications or machines on the network. Apache Tomcat. We are going to use the exploit to perform a remote code execution on the application from task 2. To be able to remotely execute commands on the vulnerable machine before we start, it is important to note that exploits rarely come out of the box and are ready to be used. They often require some configuration before they will work for our environment or target. The level of configuration will vary upon the exploit, so you will find multiple exploits for the same vulnerability on an application. It is up to you to configure out which exploit is most appropriate or useful to you. For example, in the snippet below, we can see that a few options have been changed to reflect the IP address of the machine that we are attacking from. As you can tell right here, it's what it's talking about. Once we have configured the exploit correctly, let's further read this exploit to understand how to use it. In the snippet below, we can see that we need to provide 2 arguments when running the exploit. With this information in mind, we are now ready to use this exploit. Sorry about that. On the vulnerable machine, we're going to do the following. 1. Use the exploit to upload a malicious file to the vulnerable application containing whatever command we wish to execute, where the web server will run this malicious file to execute the code. The file will first contain a basic command that we will use to verify that the exploit has worked. Then we are going to read the contents of a file located on a vulnerable machine. Moving on to answer the questions below. What type of vulnerability was used in this attack? And that's remote code execution. Alright guys, moving on to task 5, practical manual exploitation. Note, you will need to either deploy the attack box or connect to the TryHackMe network to complete this task. Deploy the machine attached to this task and wait a minimum of 5 minutes for it to be fully set up. After 5 minutes, visit the web server running on the machine by navigating to http://10.10.16, what really is your IP address, in the browser of the device connected to the THM network, your own on your own or the attack box. So we're going to move on to the first task. Answer the questions below. Find out the versions of the application that is running. Well, what are the names and versions numbers of the applications? And that's Online Bookstore 1.0. So basically, you do that. Oh, well, I guess I'll just show you. So we're going to go over here. I'll go ahead and copy paste this. We're going to visit this website. And basically all you got to do is just scroll down to the very end. And it's kind of hard to see right here, but it's this right here. Online Bookstore 1.0. Online bookstore, as you can see, and the hint will even tell you this can all be found on the first page of the vulnerable application. So moving on, now use the resources and skills from this module to find an exploit that will allow you to gain remote access to the vulnerable machine. So there is no answer needed to this, so you just hit complete. So now we're going to be moving on to the actual task. So use the exploit against the vulnerable machine. What is the value of the flag located in a web directory? So we're going to go ahead and start this terminal. I'm going to close this terminal, start a new one, and we're going to start now. So I'm going to go start by typing in search exploit online bookstore. So now it's going to be the same thing. Well, it's similar, not the same. We're going to type in enter again. We're going to hit ls. So after ls, we're going to type in nano 47887.py. So based on this, we know it's like a Python code. So all I'm going to do here is just Control X now. And this is where like the fun start begins. So I'm going to type in Python 3 47887.py. // at your IP address, which I forgot mine's. So it is 10.10. Now hit enter. Type in Y, And right here, all we have to do is type in Alice again. And right here we have the flag. So all we're gonna do is cat flag.txt, and here you have your answer. So go ahead and copy paste that on there. I'm gonna go ahead and press complete. So we are done with this, and I'll be seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.